All right, let's break down the massive, complex world of global tourism. We're going to take some of the key concepts from the Manjusri geography paper and connect them all into a single, straightforward story. So, let's dive right in.
It all kicks off with a pretty wild question, right? How can your day-to-day life, your job, your commute, the same old routine, actually end up deciding the fate of a tropical island thousands of miles away? It might sound like a stretch, but believe it or not, that's exactly where this whole story begins.
You see, every single trip starts with this basic dynamic. On one hand, you have a tourist-generating region. That's just home, where you live. And on the other, you've got a tourist destination region. That's where you want to go. The whole relationship between these two places is powered by two forces you need to know: push factors and pull factors. So, push factors. These are pretty much all the reasons you desperately want a vacation. Think about it. A stressful job, maybe not so great living conditions, or just being bored with nothing to do on the weekends. It's the daily grind that's literally pushing you out the door. And then you have the flip side, pull factors. These are all the shiny, exciting things that draw you toward a specific place. We're talking about incredible scenery, a huge concert or festival you can't miss, or just amazing hotels and restaurants. They're the magnets pulling you in.
Now, when you see those push and pull forces working on a massive scale, you get numbers like these. I mean, look at Singapore in 2023. An absolutely mind-blowing 2.3 million visitors just from Indonesia. And that's not all. Check out the second tier. Over 1 million people each from China, Malaysia, Australia, and India. It's clear the desire to travel is enormous.
So that leads to the next big question. It's one thing to want to get away. It's another thing entirely for that desire to translate into millions and millions of people actually booking flights and showing up. How does that happen?
Well, the answer comes down to three major catalysts that fuel all this movement. First, people have more disposable income, especially with the booming middle classes in places like China and India. Second, there's more leisure time. Think about China's paid half-day Friday policy. And third, you've got the digital shift. Travel apps have made planning cheaper and more personalized, which helps explain that huge surge from countries like Indonesia.
Okay, so this constant flow of tourists puts destinations on a sort of timeline, a life cycle. Let's take a place like Mauritius. It's reached what's called the consolidation stage. It's at the summit, the peak of its popularity. But here's the catch. This is a super critical turning point, because when you're at the top, there are really only two ways to go.
For a destination that's reached this peak, its future isn't a sure thing. It's standing at a major crossroads, and it has to make a huge choice about what it's going to be next. And the two possible paths forward couldn't be more different. And here they are, laid out plain and simple. Path A is decline, a slow spiral downwards. Path B is rejuvenation, a total reinvention. No destination can just stay at the summit forever. It has to choose.
So, what does decline actually look like? Well, it's a nasty negative feedback loop. First, fewer tourists start showing up. Naturally, that means less money is coming in. With less revenue, local shops and restaurants start to close down. And then there's no money left to maintain the hotels and attractions, so things get run down, which of course just makes even fewer tourists want to come.
But there is another way. Rejuvenation is the complete opposite. It's a positive upward cycle. It all starts with new investment to build exciting new attractions, or maybe to completely rebrand the whole place. That gets people talking, and tourist numbers surge again. More visitors means more money, which means more funding to make things even better and to advertise. It just keeps building on itself.
So here's the million-dollar question. What actually determines whether a place like Mauritius goes into decline or sparks a renaissance? It's not just about money or marketing. The answer, believe it or not, lies in psychology. It all comes down to what's going on in the mind of the tourist.
You can pretty much split travelers into two main personality types. On one side, you've got the dependables. These are cautious travelers, they like what's familiar, they follow the trends, and they're comfortable with mass tourism. On the other side are the venturers. These are the explorers. They're always looking for unique, off-the-beaten-path places, and they're the ones who set the trends.
And this difference is absolutely crucial. Dependables are drawn to those big, well-developed resorts and predictable package holidays. It's safe and easy. Venturers, on the other hand, are chasing the complete opposite. They want that one-of-a-kind, maybe slightly inconvenient experience that they can tell everyone about back home.
And that brings us right back to Mauritius and its big choice. Its entire future, its path to rejuvenation, hinges on who it decides to attract.
Does it build more big resorts to keep the cautious dependables happy, or does it invest in unique, eco-friendly lodges to attract those trend-setting venturers? That one strategic decision changes everything.
So, when you zoom out and look at the whole thing, you realize these aren't just 4 random ideas. The push and pull, the arrival numbers, the destination's life cycle, and the tourist's mindset, they all fit together. They form this single, elegant, interconnected system that explains how global tourism actually works.
Let's just walk through that complete story one last time. It all begins with the push and pull factors that create the flow of travelers. The size of that flow is supercharged by catalysts like more money and new tech. This massive influx pushes a destination to an evolutionary crossroads, and the path it takes all comes down to a psychological choice. Do we build for the dependables or for the venturers?
And that brings it all the way back to you. The next time you're looking at maps and booking a flight, just think about this whole system. Ask yourself, am I traveling like a dependable or am I a venturer? Because with that choice, you're actually casting a vote. You're helping to write the next chapter for the destination you're about to visit.